I put people in a spot that was, for our generation, unprecedented. And one of the casualties of my actions is y'all being hurt.
That's what pulls me 10 steps backward in this situation and this process, because in my brain, the toxic part of it is trying to turn us on you guys and try to see their side of it, when it's just, in my opinion, the people that dipped, it makes me think of them now as cowards, to be completely honest.
If there was ever a recipe to give a young person for why they would hate church, walk away from the faith, y'all would have it gift wrapped. And yet, all three of you sit here with your own relationship with God that is not based on your parents, it's not based on the church. Like, how does that happen? It's amazing. So welcome back. This is episode second half of what you just heard with Ava and Charlie and Laura. And I got this guy. Come down here, put your face in here. But this is my son, Roman, who decided to join us. So this episode is, it's real. We talk about everything from what we do as a family, what we've had to learn to do better, what you don't know about your kids. We talk about relationships, what happened to my kids when the relationships I had fell apart. Talk about a lot. So I know it's going to be a blessing. I know you can glean something from it. What do you think, son?
Watch it.
Watch it. Okay, so this is our continued episode with our family, and we have a new sitting arrangement and a new guest. This handsome guy. Introduce yourself, bro.
No.
Oh.
You can just talk.
I'm Roman. Lentz.
Yeah.
It is funky working out the mics.
Yeah.
I love you. About to be 15 years old. The light of my life. Every time I say anything encouraging, you accuse me of glazing, and I don't care. But I love you. So where we were at, Romy, if you wanted to weigh in, the last episode, we just were talking about life, kind of what happened to our fam and what that was like experiencing it from y'all's angle. And
I mean,
we were just saying that he doesn't really remember half of it.
Yeah,
and
if
I'm
I'm
saying,
being-
yeah, none of us
if
do.
I'm being like so honest, I wasn't really like, since I was so young, I wasn't really like, you guys didn't really tell me, because it would have like hit me hard and stuff. So like at that
Plus
time,
you could understand.
yeah, at that time I didn't really like remember. Like I don't really remember what was happening. I
Would
just
you have
remember-
rather them told you, like, when it happened?
No, I think it worked out fine because I didn't really know what was happening. I just thought we were moving around a lot and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really remember.
I can tell you one of the things I do remember is they told us with you, be careful, we don't give you too much because you were little. And so I didn't tell you virtually anything. And then mom said one day, you better go up to the room. This is in Cali. Because he's found some stuff online, and which I had told you to not do. And all of my kids disobeyed that. And you just looked at me and you held up this thing and you said, why didn't you tell me any of this? Why didn't you tell me? You remember that?
Yeah, I felt like kind of like betrayed almost because like I just thought we were moving around. So yeah, I knew something was up because y'all were acting
tell.
weird and stuff. So I just searched your name up to see if there was anything happening, if it was just like mine.
Well, and because we always used to do that anyways. Like, we used to just search you up just to, like, just be like, oh, yeah, my dad's on the internet.
Yeah, like I'm on there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But this time it was just different.
yeah.
So what was that like, kind of that, seeing it that way?
I mean, it was just like at night I was bored just watching like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I like searched your name up for fun. And then, yeah, I saw it and I just like cried. Oh, I just like cried that night because like, I don't know. I had no idea. So it just like all hit me at one time.
Are you finding as you get older, now you have questions and now you've got stuff that we've talked about some of it. We're still getting through it. Like as you get older, do you find this becoming more vivid for you? Like questions like, oh, now that you're almost 15, you know so much more about life. What's that like? Are you figuring it out as we go?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really like, I guess it's like behind me because I don't really like, I really don't remember it that much. So I don't really feel that involved almost, but I am. So yeah.
Do you still feel like you need to, or do you still feel like you work through processing it? Like, do you feel like you can ask questions and?
Yeah, I think I know enough I don't really want to know too much about it anyway. So I feel like I'm fine where I'm at
You know
right
what
now.
you need to know.
Yeah.
What did you find out about your mom during all this? Because you're pretty tight. You and mom are chalk and cheese best friends. What do you think about her over the past 3-4 years, watching her navigate this change? What do you see in your mom?
Well, she's clearly a really like strong person to like deal with this and to have like the maturity to forgive you in general and all that. So I think she's a really like strong person to deal with this in the span of like 4 years. So
Thanks, buddy.
I'm proud of her.
I'm proud of you.
You want to ask
Proud
him
of all my
anything?
kids. No.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this. Do you guys, in case people watch, they don't know our whole story. Obviously, me and mom been in ministry our whole lives, your whole lives, led our church that we just love, that it was awesome. Do you guys do you miss church?
No.
This is an all over the place kind of question, because like I think all of us collectively, hell no. But at the same time, I think being a pastor's kid was the highlight. It was such a joyful, like looking back on growing up in that before everything, it was such a joyful time for us. Like I think it's because we ran the show. Like
It did.
every kid wants to have that kind of control, and we still somehow had all of that, but we were still kept real during all of that. I don't think I remember meeting other pastors' kids I was just like, oh, you are, get out of here.
You guys have always been outliers.
We've
with
always,
that.
I feel like growing up, we were always still super grounded. We were so blessed and privileged that entire time because of how that whole season was just awesome and successful. So that's how that was the fruit for us. It was awesome and successful.
I think at
being
the
PKs.
time I liked the church at the
Yes.
time, but I feel like now, like looking back now that I have like my own faith, like personally, like I think that it was like like just more like there wasn't any depth in it for me. Like I think it was more like I had that label and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I like was like I loved going to church. I loved camp, loved the people. I just think I was just going with the crowd.
You've asked me before if my relationship with Jesus has gotten closer or further since all of this. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but for me, being separated from a place that we were at every week and a routine that involved, if it even was like a staff meeting or youth or an 8 p.m. service, or
It took up a lot of our time.
it was a lot of our time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I had a relationship with Jesus then, but it wasn't until after the fact, when all of that got taken away, that I had to figure out if I really wanted that for my own. And I think I figured for other people, they think that they need an institution to feel connected, which I don't think that. I'm not saying you don't need community to be and have a relationship with Jesus. Of course, that's like
essential.
it's essential.
I
It's
believe
what it's about, but it's also about your own heart in all of it. And I think, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of the same for you. I feel like we all had to go through that in kind of a different way of just figuring out how to have a relationship with Jesus without
that huge
our
church
dad
link.
having that authority of if we wanted to raise our hand and give our lives to Jesus that day, or like if I was just doing that after writing in my journal by myself, like
Can you guys break off my altar call real quick?
One.
Wait, do we
Jesus
say-
loves you. He died and rose again so you could have life too. The Bible says right now is the time for salvation. Don't wait another day. 3, lift your head all over this place. Shoot up high. I see you. I see you.
I see you, my brother.
I see you, my brother.
I see you, sister. That's Mike. That's what Mike does.
And that is
my
exactly
tongue.
Exactly
Verbatim.
Roman would even do it when he was
rhythm.
little too. There was a little.
We all
there
had the
was a
cadence
melody
of
with
it. Yeah. One, Jesus loves you.
That
He died and
was
rose again so
amazing.
you could have life too. The Bible says right now
is
is the time for salvation. Don't wait another day. 3. You had to do the another day.
Another day.
Don't wait another day.
Another day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel so left out. Like, I have no idea what you guys.
You know
are
why?
talking about.
Because you had an iPad
You had
and
an
giant
iPad and you were trying
earphones
to
and you were
talk to
eating
Dad
stuff.
while he was on stage. You're
Dude.
like,
Bro, do
asking
you
him for
remember
something.
coming
No,
on
no,
a trip
no,
with
no.
me? Hold on, me first. It's my show. Go.
Okay. After every service, I remember I would go to Mike. I would be like, I want to go see Dad. I would wait on the stairs, like under the stairs.
Shout out Mike Vogel. We love
Yeah,
you.
love you, Mike. Congratulations on the kid. But like, I would always wait, and you would always love it every time. Or I would be like, I would like mouse you, can I come up there? And I would just hold your hand while you like did your whatever that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we film this, Ava's boyfriend's lurking around. So just
Shirtless.
lurk yourself out of here, bro. Back to the frickin' pod. Golly.
But like what you said before about do you miss the church at all? Once again, I was a kid, I was a baby. So I don't remember it, but I do remember it being a good experience. As
Yeah.
being a pastor's kid, being like the little child.
Hmm.
And I had so many like people around me like the whole time. Like Mike, PJ, everyone. Like
Shout out
Shout out
PJ.
PJ
we love
Davis.
you.
Yeah.
We love you, PJ.
Shout out to PJ Davis
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
I miss your bald head.
I hate them like
Stop touching the mic. Go. Go.
But yeah, I just felt like more protected than you almost. Cause like
Mm.
everyone knew me, everyone
Yeah.
loved
True.
me.
Yeah.
I was just like your little son. So.
How do you feel about church now, though? Because, I mean, remember when we first went to TC and you cried because they played a Hillsong song?
Yeah.
What is that emotion in you that I think it still triggers you a little bit, right? When you hear, like, for all of you, Hillsong
Oh,
songs
yeah.
or something
At
like
Yeah.
that?
chapel, at my school, I hear it.
I
all
tell
the
people to
time.
turn that mug off.
Yeah.
Measure down.
Yeah. It
But some
just
of them are bangers. Some of them are.
Some of them are
Yeah.
bangers, yeah, for sure.
Oh.
But
Yes.
how about for you, Room?
I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like when they play a song like that, it's just like I get like hit with nostalgia almost.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that was the songs I grew up with.
Right.
So I immediately think of like Hillsong,
Mhm.
how it was at Hillsong and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was like your soundtrack in your little brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep in your soul.
Yeah.
I used to
Um,
listen to Hillsong for bed.
Yeah, you did.
All that. So yeah, it
Yeah,
just
we
like
Charlie,
did that. We both
yeah.
did that.
it just like punches you in the chest almost every time you hear a Hillsong song.
Mm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely like a little, like if I hear the certain sound.
If I hear a
kinda like-
specific person singing a specific song,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think I've tried to change the way I relate to it. As you guys know, I'm a reframer, but because I can't necessarily listen to it because of what it does to me, but I love it and remember it for what I used to
What it
love about it.
was, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I just can't because I have Cornerstone tattooed on my arm. Like it's
Right.
tough. It's a tough song to get away from. But yeah, I think that's interesting. So Romy, all of you, like, could you guys say that what we went through in a roundabout way is kind of giving you a love, even a deeper love for church, because now you know it in a different way. So before you didn't have any choice. You're the pastor's kid. You're not getting out of that. But now you're old enough. We go to a church where I'm not the pastor and we attend and we love it. But what's that like now, the change? You feel like you respect church in a different way? Do you realize its importance?
well, I feel like we went to BSIDE
Yep.
before.
And that was the
Yes.
first time we had
Well,
been
it was-
in
yes, church.
dark lights, music, people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
someone preaching, one dude being the one dude. Like it was just a lot.
Yeah.
Nothing about
Yeah.
itself. It was just
was
that
just that
environment was like,
experience.
ooh, I do not. I think
Mm.
immediately we all reacted in like a pushback way for sure.
Yeah, we definitely like didn't.
We did
really
not
wanna
like that.
go.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was a tough day. I remember that first time we went to beautiful Bayside, with Randy and
Yeah.
Amy Bazette, who had just
Love
been
Randy.
so amazing towards us. And I wasn't planning on going back to church ever, really.
Yeah.
And we went in there because Randy said, I want you to come. And I remember standing there holding y'all's hand, and I could not stop crying.
Yeah,
I think same.
same. Oh, I couldn't even. I was just standing stiff.
I don't
And
think I was
remember
crying.
looking,
I think I was
think
just mad.
my
Probably was pissed.
my emotion came from looking down this row
Mm.
Yeah.
at the three of you and my wife, and everybody trying to stay present and locked in. And I
Yeah.
just thought this is going to be tough. I've said before on this show if there was ever a recipe to give a young person for why they would hate church, walk away from the faith, y'all would have it gift wrapped because your dad fell on his
Right.
face, had hypocritical areas. A lot of people in the church hurt y'all and frustrated you. And some of the stuff with God doesn't even make sense in a situation like this. And yet all three of you sit here with your own relationship with God that is not based on your parents, is not based on the church. Like, how does that happen? It's amazing. I'm proud of you for it. What's that like?
I think that the difference between TC with Hillsong is that like, and why transformation is literally one of the sole reasons that I am able to have a faith again. I think because
Yeah.
it's not organized. Like it is.
I know what you mean. It's
It
free,
is,
it's free
but it's
flowing.
like-
Authentic.
At Hillsong, we had a routine of it was
Yep.
It was like a job.
2 songs, offering, go back, worship, and then you preach for that amount of time, and then you do the same altar call, and then you do it again 7 more times in a day.
Yeah.
But at TC, it's once a day.
Let's let it
It's
ride.
the most unique it can be every time.
And we're going for 7 hours.
Like sometimes there'll be like a full like offering and stuff, but sometimes there'll be an offering that goes into, you know, I am confident
Yeah.
somehow,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like it's unexpected and it's
Mm.
like it's authentic in being led by the Spirit no matter what. And like that's just a level of it's like a respect that I have for the church now.
Yeah, it's like a definitely like a jump from Hillsong to TC.
TC, yeah.
Because like we're there on
Mhm.
Yeah.
purpose, like
Yeah.
without you being like the lead.
Yeah, we're not
pastor.
really involved.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
like obligated
Y'all
to
have
go.
your
We
own-
still
We're
know
attending-
everyone and we're cool with everyone and stuff, but like I don't know.
I think
Like,
that's
it's-
the fun
attend.
part is that like we have the protection that we had at Hillsong,
Mm.
like with Charles
Feel
and
safe,
Mike
yeah.
and
Oh,
Scott
yeah.
and Aaron and
Just-
all these people. Like we have that entourage of like I could call all these people if I needed help, and I don't have to worry about looking a certain way to the outside people because I'm a pastor's kid.
Did you feel that pressure before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like, but I wasn't like mad at it at the time. Like I think that I was like still in that pressure, so I was, but I didn't know it was pressure.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I was just going with whatever you two were going with, like
Right.
naturally as a kid
Yeah.
does. But it was like, but as I got older and I got my own opinions and I had my own little moment of like hating everything, like I couldn't like exist authentically. I feel like because I'd get the comments and I'd get the DMs,
Yeah.
and I'd see the articles about you guys. And,
Friendships are a huge deal. And you guys know how we've always done friendship and loyalty is open house. You guys have grown up with people in our house all the time. I vividly remember it, even in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, waking both of you up because we had someone who was completely cracked out on literal heroin. And we needed a place to put him, and we only had your room. So you guys in the middle of the night picked you up, put you in our bed, and put a guy in there who didn't leave for 2.5 days. Wakes up, mom cooks him breakfast, and he's just, you know, he was a brother. He's passed away, but that was regular for y'all. Like you had a life where you knew that our friends are not just friends; they are family. And when my situation turned the way it did, a lot of the friends that I had, y'all had, I no longer had them. You no longer had them.
I think it, can I go? So I think it was like how it was like whoever y'all let into the house, we trusted immediately to be family, and they were, and then they weren't. And so I think, and then there was new people who were brought in, and then I had to learn that like I can trust that again, that like y'all wouldn't let some random person that isn't, you know, like somebody that we can call, like you wouldn't let us, you know, just trust that again. And like you don't take advantage of our struggles with being abandoned like that from a lot of those people. I think that's caused a lot of struggles with me, with my friends who have nothing to do with anything that happened.
Interesting.
Like I just get super nervous every single time like somebody comes over here, that it's like, oh, like I wonder if they're just like gonna leave because like I have the best relationship, but I also have the best relationship with those people who did leave. And you know, it was just, there was no like goodbye text of like, I still love you.
Yeah.
Just letting your parents have a moment, which I did get from
From a couple. Sure.
people. But it was just like, you go.
Yeah, I think for a very long time, I've talked about this question with
Yes.
you guys.
Yes.
And because it makes me feel so strongly, and I don't want to get emotional about it because I so badly want to be like
Yeah.
F y'all.
Yeah.
But this is the reality of it. And whoever is going to see it, this is your, I'm about to talk. What's that word?
Repercussion.
This is the repercussion, and this is the what's left over from your actions.
This is reaping what you sow.
And like I will forever be grateful for the people that have stuck by me individually in a way where it felt supported, regardless of you guys being in the picture. And I don't think we had ever experienced that kind of support just on our own. Like I can count them right now. Like I have a bunch of people like that have impacted me very deeply in that way. And I've also kept the respect for you guys. But on the other side of that, the people that I used to be able to call my uncles or older sisters or people that I would call if no one else was available, just like, yeah. Oh, I so badly want to be like, but it makes me sad because those people, I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
It's great. Keep going.
I think it makes me really, that's what pulls me 10 steps backward in this situation and this process, because it's almost like a way of trying, in my brain, the toxic part of it is trying to turn us on you guys and try to see their side of it, when it's just, in my opinion, the people that dipped, regardless if they had their own stuff and their own at the end of the day, we were the kids.
Yeah.
Those were my siblings. Yeah. That was my 10-year-old brother. That was my sister in the hospital. That was me, 16, not knowing what I'm doing. Like, and people thought that was like okay to just comment, even like the social media part of it, like talking about you guys. People just like forgot that there were kids involved.
Yeah. Right.
And family and cousins and moms and grandmas. And it makes me think of them now as cowards, to be completely honest, because of their intimidation to their own story, they couldn't even look into the kids' eyes and encourage us. Even if they felt however they felt about you guys, they couldn't give us any kind of support. So to me, that was like, I look at all those, specifically a couple people in my life who were in my life that I saw as some of the strongest guys I've known. I've not heard a word from to this day, besides one.
Right.
And that one says a lot and leaves me a lot of hope, for sure. But at the same time, I've definitely closed my chapter on those people for right now. So it's a chapter. But that one kind of changed my perspective on feeling how I have felt. I think before it was just a lot of resentment and a lot of, oh, when I see that one, when I see him, can't wait to yell and whatever. And in reality, when I saw him, like I'm doing right now, I just cried.
Yeah.
And the other ones, after this time of talking to the one, sorry, that's kind of confusing.
No, I'm with you, babe.
I have just kind of been like, okay, if anything, I've done the work and I wasn't even a part of the work that needed to be done. I didn't have to sit here. I didn't
Right.
have to need
You
them.
didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't do anything wrong.
No.
They didn't do anything wrong. Mom didn't do anything wrong. Mom did not do anything wrong. The wives are also included of the people that I'm talking about too. And I think also when thinking about this question, I also think about my protectiveness that I have that has kind of built up over these last couple of years, I would say. I'm very protective over you guys, Mom, and also my friends, people who are super close to me. I'm a very protective person. And I think that's a result of, the lack of protection from the people that were supposed to be our protectors when we needed it.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think my loyalty to other people is
gone.
like through the roof for like the people in my life now, and the people then is gone. Like I feel like it's less anger now for me, and it's more disappointment.
Yeah.
Of like now I could if I knew somebody and this situation happened to them, I would stay there.
Oh my God.
Like I would be supportive, and I'm 17 and I know that. And you're a grown woman, a grown man who decided, yeah, I'm gonna let these kids face everybody else and me face that.
Or let me just dip off the face of the earth,
Like,
and not say a word until I feel like it.
I think when I went to the hospital, I went to 2 different hospitals. And when I was at the first one, after I got out, I, got all these texts from all these people. And then after I got out the second one, it was like that amount was like cut in half of, people who still cared, and it sucked to see that like my relationships with a lot of these people were conditional to them, and it wasn't for me. Like ew. Like a lot of those people, like I would have loved to like have at my graduation, and to like have at my birthdays, and just like give a call every now and then,
even during that time.
Yeah. So it's like, it just sucks that like I didn't get a choice as to sit, because I've already said goodbye to too many people in my life, and so that like sucked.
Yeah.
And I think that it like just created a lot of it was resentment, and now it's just like, damn. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even mad. I just want to know why.
Disappointed. Yeah.
You, Romy, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I definitely hear it from both of you, but in my opinion, I think it was great how some people kind of left, because we had a lot of people who said they were with us, right? And like, since that happened, we found out who was really like with our family and who wasn't. So I think it was better how the people who really weren't showed how they really felt in that situation. Yeah. So now we have like a real circle who we can trust with the people who stayed.
Yeah.
So. One of the things that I had to stop doing and change the way I was doing it was I wouldn't let you guys communicate that fully, because I felt like I wanted to make sure you knew that I was the one who broke the trust in some relationships. And I would do that so much that my therapist was teaching me that I'm actually stunting y'all's ability to heal. And so now I think we've landed on a part of this journey where we realize 2 things can be true. It's both and. So yes, it's true. I broke a relationship, and when that happens, people have the right to react however they're going to react.
Yeah.
And one of the casualties of my actions is y'all being hurt.
Right.
Because those people were connected to us and felt like for whatever reason, they had to take a step back. It's true. And your feeling of them being cowards, these 2 things exist in the same world. And that's okay. This is both and. Yes, it was on me. And I'm so sad that I put you guys through that. And I'm so proud to watch you guys stand up strong, but can never not be said. Dad put people in a hard spot.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely say those guys are cowards.
Yeah.
That exists in both worlds.
Yeah. And I think with what like highlighting dad put
Yeah.
those people in a hard spot. There's no Laura, Ava, Charlie, Roman. That's where it kind of like
Yeah.
gets a little iffy for me.
Yep.
Both
Yes.
worlds thing for sure. That's why we've talked about they have reasons for why, and they're valid. But at the same time, I've been still trying to figure out how to not let that affect me, because the reasons are more about you.
Yes.
So it's still confusing
Right.
to think about, okay, if the reasons were, well, I have the same stuff, I just don't want to talk about it yet. Okay, what does that have to do with me?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with you being like, hey, we're here, me and my family are here for you?
So great news. B-Side is ad free. There's nothing worse than listening to an amazing something and then it breaks for some ad. I think anytime you can get a bunch of great things in one place, you got to do it. Like the BSIDE app, exclusive content, that alone is probably worth getting this. I mean, it's special stuff that we're going to do just for the B-Side community. So that's on the app. There is community moments in an app like B-Side that you really can't replicate anywhere else. It's pretty cool. So if you're somebody who's searching for community, friendships, or people of like-minded whatever, B-Side is that. And we have a lot of great events at B-Side, and you're the first to know if you have the app. So don't miss out on something because you didn't know about it. Get this app, and it's way worth it. So we love you. We want you to have the best. Get the app. We know for sure, and this is for people who are watching, they're all different walks of life. We can confidently say, in our situation, if you do have to pull back from somebody who's in a crisis and you don't feel like it's healthy to stay, fair. And on your way out, lob a few texts. If you're not strong enough to text somebody's child without feeling like you're in danger of getting manipulated by the guy you're running from, something's wrong with you as a man or a woman, okay?
Bro.
So it's important that we can actually say, just as a tip, if anyone's like, how can I support friends?
Man up.
How can I support friends? If you can't support them with your presence, and that's okay because that happens.
Right.
Just realize that there are other people attached, and in that big world of factors, it's also important to let people know that's the consequence
Right.
of my action with so much collateral damage like that in my own house. It's hard to fathom. So you could put some of it on them for sure, but the reality is you don't think of that when you're making my bad decisions. I'm at the top of that decision totem pole. Doesn't mean everything you said is not valid. It just means we hold them both. And you did a beautiful job of explaining that. So thank you for sharing. Honestly, it's not easy. What were you going to say, Romy? Okay, I thought you had something. Romy, did you have a period there where you had to field comments and field stuff and like people saying stuff to you? Was that ever a part of your?
I mean, no. I got a couple comments on my Instagram, but like most of them was just like people who had issues with themselves. Almost because like it definitely wasn't my fault. I was a baby when that happened.
Hey, you got to be. Hold on, you got to be a special kind of weird and broken if you're gonna get on a child's
youngest
Instagram
child's
Y'all are
and
special.
say cruel things. Which I
Can
saw.
special? You're special.
Can I say what it said?
Yeah, sure.
Am I allowed to?
Sure.
Okay, they said they literally just commented on a random Instagram post of mine. They said, "Your parents are horrible and God isn't real." That's all it said.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, I wasn't even like there when whenever y'all's situation happened. I was like a baby
playing Minecraft.
And
I
your
was
issues
on
with
TikTok,
God have
like-
nothing to do with my wicked TikTok I just did right now.
Yeah, like what was like, why my post?
Hey, you nailed it though, bro. You nailed it. I mean, when you read comments like that, you realize immediately this isn't even about,
Like,
it's not
this
even about
isn't-
mom and dad ultimately. This
Yeah.
is about
This is about
something
your
going on in them.
life, your issues.
So just to close that conversation about friendships for now, I put people in a spot that was, for our generation, unprecedented. And it has to be said. I think for someone with our platform, my platform, to fall like I fell, it was scary for a lot of people. And it doesn't make what happened in your responses and the reactions right, but just needs to be said, because people have talked about my old crew pretty harshly, and they can do that. And at the same time, when I realized the depth of pain I put people in, it gives you more grace. It gives you more compassion. I know you guys are doing a great job of factoring all that in. Lozzie, do you want to throw anything in?
Yeah, I've got a question for you guys. So Dad asked,
Whoa, Ralphie.
Dad asked you guys earlier, Roman, you weren't here, but oh yes, you did answer it. Sorry.
Here.
What do you guys see in your dad that you admire, that you appreciate, that you love, a change, like what's changed in him, or something that you can speak to about your dad?
Oh.
I had my hand raised.
I would say you definitely have gotten like stronger mentally and like as a person. And you're obviously, what I said with Mom, you're definitely a strong human being to go through what you've gone through without it really affecting you. I know it did, but like now, because like you definitely have changed as a dad and like as a person for sure. Because like, oh, you got it.
No,
Yeah, keep
I
going.
thought you were done.
No, I was done. I was done.
Okay. Well, I
Thank you.
agree with him that I feel like my main thing is that you're just like, you're more gentle, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think that your spirit is different than it was. Like, I feel like I have a very vivid memory of, there was one time that I was really struggling and I was just like crying. I don't even know what it was about, but I was just like, I just couldn't stop crying. And I did this thing where I covered up my face, and you like had gotten mad at me for covering up my face, but it was just like something that I was just like doing because I just needed to feel safe or something. And I always think about that, like how now you would never tell me to feel the way I needed to feel, us like a certain way. Like you would never say like, oh, don't cover your face, or don't like stop crying like that, or something like that. Like it just, there's more, it's just lighter, I think, in the house. And I think that you lead the house well with that. Like I think that you set the precedent of that, to be gentle with each other. It's like, duh, like we are human and still like we still have moments because we're still like a normal family, but like I think it's just very I don't have a fear of feeling. And I think that comes from the effort that you have put in.
Wow.
Before all of this, like kind of back to the marriage question, how before and after, like the vibe in the house between you, there was such like a distinct role between both of you. And Dad's was always, you were the best dad growing, like there was nothing but highlights growing up, like for sure, but your presence was so different than like what they're saying about lighter. It was, your presence was heavy when we were younger in ways where it was always Mom was running around doing something, and you were, when you guys would communicate and kind of bicker a little bit, it was super like this.
Yeah.
And she's like it was just like that the whole
very
time.
much.
Like, yeah, up and down. And now you move forward with Mom specifically with such, it's like ease and elegance. It's like you're working so much harder than you were. Like you were working so hard when we were younger, but in the way of preparing sermons for the church, being on, you were working hard for us, but just it wasn't how it is now. We are the only priority. Like there is no other priority except us and Mom. And I think compared to when we were younger, the presence of you kind of set the tone for the vibe of the house. And I think now, because we're kind of now listening, or you're kind of receiving us more than we receive you, when before it was always we went by with what you were saying, and now we're way more involved with you. So I think the difference in you now that I've seen these past couple years is your self-awareness, your self-accountability, your discipline and your hard work to get to all those things at the same time. Like it's never, and you're never going to let it stop. Like you could totally, you've been in your same therapy call for 4 years. Like you could totally just stop, but you're not gonna. Like I know you're not. And like same with how you communicate with us and how you keep the floor open at all times, that just doesn't change. And I think before it was kind of, if we did feel upset, we were younger, but it was kind of just like, okay, have your moment. Okay, let's go. Like we're strong. We're leaders. We can pick it back up. And but it's that can sound so like that you guys were super on us all the time. It wasn't like that. It was, we understood and we were fine and we processed, but now it's more, okay, I can feel, and maybe I don't want you to tell me to suck it up, or maybe I don't. Maybe it's about you and I don't want to talk to you about it.
We have a special guest on the show.
Who is this?
So, good, yeah.
But yeah, your presence has completely shifted.
Yeah, I think that it used to be, you used to prioritize people equally to mom. And I think that now mom is above everybody else. And I think that goes back to the marriage question, I think, for me, is that like used to, you know, have everybody had equal importance in our lives. And now it's like we are above everybody else. And I think that is noticeable in the way that mom carries herself. Like there's more ease of like, she knows damn well that like she won't be made to look a fool by anybody under your watch. Like, and that's the same with all of us. Like I like having you at, you know, school football games, just like in the distance, you know? So it's like, yeah, but you wanted to say something?
Oh, I was gonna ask, like, Mom, is there anything that you've like noticed in Dad? That if anything he's changed in his life or anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys spoke really well. That was really beautiful. How are you, babe?
I'm good. I'm good.
You holding it together over there?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before, but I mean, he's completely different to how he was before. And like we've talked about, we have a second marriage, as you guys know. And so for me, it's been all of those things, the consistency and the trust that's built and the priority of our family over everything else, which you don't realize when you're in it. And even, you know, I think our whole life, we always said that our family is the most important over church and blah, blah, blah. Like that's what's said when
We
you're
didn't live by it though.
the pastors, but you actually, it's really hard to do. And I think that's what I don't miss about that whole ministry world is the fact that family it takes a toll on the family. And it doesn't matter how hard you try because there's always an emergency or there's always something to do and, you know, somewhere to go. And
It's a part of the job.
it's part of the job.
Yeah.
And you can't get away from that. So I really love that we've had this time together as a family, and it's been really special.
Wow. Yeah. I think you guys know, dealing with your mom's accent for over 20 years can drive somebody crazy. And
The brain cells
pushing
up there.
through that. No, I want you guys to know this, and I think it's cool. It's a lesson, for anybody, especially as a dad. What you sensed in me before was guilt and hate for my own actions. And when you feel people that are intense and like a lot of you guys just described to me a different speed. That speed was because of my own pain. And I'm glad you can recognize that now. And it's good for people to know if you're dealing with stuff and you're not talking about it, your
It's
kids
coming
know
up. Yeah.
you're hurting your kids more than you know.
Very easily.
And you don't realize it till you step back. And even what Laura said about the pastors, even as hard as you try, if there's a pastor listening right now, his first instinct is like, I do it better. I've got boundaries. Okay, man, cool. I have so much empathy and grace and compassion for pastors. It's the hardest job I can think of. It's the only job I've known besides what we're doing now. And it's hard to do. What I'm saying is you have to really work hard at making space for what matters and protecting your brain. And I had no clue how to do that.
Right.
I was awful with it. I didn't know. Now I look back and I go, I was awful. Back then, I realized it's not awful. Got to be kind to myself. I just didn't know. So I didn't know I couldn't be with you, holding you, be on the phone, write a message, and then take you to the Barclays Center to go to a game real quick because I got to drop this off for somebody. And then I got to go to Roman's school and pick him up. And I'm not there for any of it.
Right.
And that's boundaries. And that's, awareness. That comes from sobriety. And I think that's what I've felt as your dad, and as a husband is sobriety. But I'm just so grateful for you guys not giving up on me.
So how would you? Sorry, I just have a question. Can I ask my question?
Yeah.
So how, for someone listening, like how you said back then you didn't know until you stepped out. So how would you take what you've been through for someone listening being like, well, what if I'm in that right now and I don't know it because I'm in it? Like, how would you, from what you've learned, help someone else see that?
It's
Great question,
It's a
Nate.
great question. I can't
Great
wait.
question,
I can't wait
Chuck.
for y'all's
Great question.
podcast. I think it has to come from a third party, and you got to be honest. That's all. It's not rocket science. I think when you don't have anybody speaking into your situation, you're in trouble quick. And I know there's people that I love that would be watching now that just they know they're carrying stuff and they know it's hurting people and they don't know what to do in any walk of life, and they're working hard for their family, not realizing that it might be hurting their family. And I think that you got to get honest with somebody and let them know what's happening. That wouldn't have worked for me because I didn't know how to get honest. So I had a double issue there. But it's a great question. For that answer, it's a quick one. You got to get honest with somebody. Someone else has to be able to speak into it.
Right.
Like, so we know that, well, I don't know, like, how deep you've gone into your addiction. I don't know how much you shared or whatever. But, like, did you know, like, did either of you know while it was happening that it was unhealthy, the Adderall, and, like, how did you, like, go about that did you ever have a conversation of like, hey, I think that you're doing
I
this
definitely
too much?
did. I tried. And it's hard when someone is taking it that's been given from a doctor and then it just gets worse and worse. So I did try, and you get the response that you would get when someone's an addict and doesn't realize that they're even an addict. It's like, no, I'm fine. This is, it's from my doctor, whatever the reason is. So you really can't do much. All I could do was pray. And I've talked about it when Dad was at the rehab and he wrote a letter to me to say that he was off his medication. And I felt such a relief because that's been my biggest thing that I knew I couldn't control or like help in any way. He had to get there himself. And he didn't even know he had it until he got there,
It's a great sign of addiction. If you ask somebody, are you addicted to something, and they defend voraciously, you're 100% you're an addict. Because if you're not addicted to something, you're like, I don't know. Yeah. Am I? Let's talk about it. Am I addicted to petting my dog? I don't know. Take it away. Let's see. Whatever it is. But now we know all this stuff. We know how to read some addict stuff like really easily. But that was exactly what it was like. Mom would ask me, and it was a vicious defense.
What was the biggest consequence in y'all's relationship, like during that you think that the addiction itself caused between you guys?
Probably for me, I would see just lack of like being able to finish anything or like follow through with anything properly, or he would get things done, but then it would like something else would fall off the. Trying to do too much a lot was a huge thing. Or trying to promise too much to you guys was really hard for me.
So like watch?
Yeah, because I would know he's not going to be able to make it to whatever he's saying. I'll be there for this. And I just knew, I promise you I'll pick you up here. And
or I might make it, but it's all intense and anxious.
Yes,
and which is why I've talked to my 3 ADHD children to say, you can already see it now. Like, you don't save enough time when you're blessed with our superpower. And you think you can fit it all in. And that was one of the, For me, I just would say, I think the drug was like gasoline to a bad car. And without it, maybe the bad car would have broken down, could have got help, but it just kept fueling. So I got to ride on the highway really long time with a bad car because I had fuel. That's how I look at that addiction. Had I not had that, I don't know. Who knows? But it cost us a lot. It was a symptom of, Good question. I feel like I'm getting grilled, all of a sudden from my kids. What else is on your heart? I got our template. We're rolling with it, but I just can't.
I just know that like a lot of people don't talk, like you're like a public figure, I feel like, or you were, or like are sometimes, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But you're known and like you have a platform. So it's like, I feel like it would just help people to just hear that like you've made it to the other side and you've known people who have and who were worse off than you. Like, I just feel like I know that like it's helpful to talk about that as somebody who is respected and like doesn't have the stigma of being an addict on them.
Yeah.
Like how, I don't know, like it's just like unsuspecting addict is you.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
I mean, think about it. Think about what I'm doing right here. I'm talking to a family that, for all reality, intensive purposes, we should not have a family. And we have done normal work as far as whatever's put in front of us, me and then your mom, and we're here. We're better than we were before. And so if, for people who do struggle with that, maybe they're on the other side of this, didn't always look like that. But me and mom keep telling people, if we can get healthy, you can get healthy. If we can make it, I'm not saying our situation is bad or worse, better or worse than somebody else's, it's just ours, but it was hard, and if we can make it, they can make it.
Which is why we're
doesn't
doing
have to
this,
define your life. That's why we're having this conversation, because we've lost that. We have nothing to protect, nothing to hide, nothing to prove.
Yeah.
And
we just want to help people.
That's what this is about, for people to look at this story and go, cool, what can you take from it?
Being where y'all are now, like how evident is trust issues for you, at least? Like, do you still have moments where you're like, he's out, or like he's on a phone call and you're like, he told me what he's doing and who he's on the phone with, but do you still have those moments of like uncertainty?
They're very, very few now. Sometimes I do. And then I always have to, I was given a great tool from my therapist, which was to acknowledge that that's how I'm feeling. And then, and say, I know who he is now and the work that he's doing. This is the reality of what I'm seeing. And so that's the tool that I use when I feel triggered by something, or I could think a certain way, because I could easily go into a whole spiral.
Yeah.
But I have to remember yes, that happened, and yes, that's a real feeling that I'm feeling, and this is what he's doing, and this is who I know he is.
To reframe it.
Yeah, I have to reframe it. And so that has helped me so much with the being able to trust and being able to get through some triggering moments. Because, I've had to, he does travel for work, or he's not at home anymore. Like for the first 2 years.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
You didn't do any, you were home, which was a very huge gift for us at that time, because I was able to work on a lot of things without having that extra of.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that luxury. But it's taken a lot of time, but he does the work to prove that I can trust him.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a dance and a process. And your mom told me the other day, I'm going to tell this story on literally every pod. It's like, she was I asked your mom, what can I do to make you feel safe? And she said to me, I don't remember the last time I didn't trust you. I don't remember what it's like to not trust you. And I think that takes a lot of work, and it's good for y'all to know, even as young women, as you date and people, it's not your job to explain how you feel all the time. So mom's job is to just share how she feels. And y'all know she's bad at that. Like, she puts herself last. So her journey has been to tell me, I don't feel comfortable today. My job is my journey has been to not be defensive or insulted, because I would always take it personal. Like, and then I had to get over that and go, no, that's her journey. I have to receive. There have been times where I have had to come back to you and say, I did a terrible job of receiving.
Yeah.
I received it and I sent that shit right back to you. But that's part of the journey of building trust. If you've ever lost trust with somebody, that's what you have to do. You got to keep on showing up. And it's not, you don't get to decide when somebody
it's done.
trusts
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys struggle with that because it's exhausting, I'm sure.
It can be. Well, it depends on how you frame it.
Right.
But there are some moments where you feel like there's no end in sight, you know, and you got to fight through that. But we did everything from passwords to trackers to Live 360 to whatever was needed at the time. It's like, hey, what do you need me to do? I'm gonna freaking do it.
Yeah.
And for a while there, it was very exact. Now, I wouldn't even use the word tedious. It was like, hey, I'm going to go and I had to learn how to not lie about stupid things. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, you'd say, hey, did you go to the gym? You go anywhere else? Nah, I went straight to the gym. Well, that's not true because I went to the gas station. But I had gotten so used to just telling you what I think you need to know, which is a form of lying, that I had to relearn that. And I'd come back to her with the stupidest things. Like, babe, I told you I went to the store and I did, but I also went to freaking, a shoe store.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care. I'm like, trust me, it matters more than you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, because she's like, okay. But what I was doing was building a new pattern of being exactly honest, you know? So it's been an interesting journey. What is something that we've done right as a family that you guys can point to and say, that's what we do really good, and it's made y'all's life better, and you feel confident, you feel strong? Like, what do we do as a family maybe that you've loved?
I think that we have a balance. Ooh, my stomach just growled so loud.
We got a growler, we got a yawner,
hope
we got an
my phone didn't hear
ADDer.
that.
We're on our 10-minute countdown.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Well, I think that we just have a balance of being a friend and being a parent. Like, I feel like a lot of parents think that you can only be either or.
Interesting.
Of like, you have to be super strict or you have to let them do whatever they want. Like, I feel like you guys have created, and I think that we've also worked hard at letting you guys be comfortable.
Yeah.
And like, we've built trust too, of like, I can go out with a lot of my friends because I have good friends. And you guys know that because you put in the effort to know my friends.
Know 'em, yeah.
And to know who I'm hanging out with. So it's like, I put in the effort of bringing my friends around, and like, I put in the effort of making good friends so that you guys can feel comfortable. It's like, as a family, I think that we all have a good balance of like giving each other, credit where it counts, and like being accountable for just the little things of like, yeah, I did say that when I was just hungry, and it was kind of shitty to say, but it was like, I don't know, but I think that we just
Good
have
answer.
like
Beautiful.
a good system of like, of you tell me what goes on in your house and I tell you what goes on in my house. And it's like, it just creates a flow, like an ebb and flow of like, that I'll tell you what you need to know. And which is usually everything. Like, I usually tell you everything.
Yeah.
But it's like,
It was taking a really long time for us to get there.
exactly. And like, so if I don't tell you something, that there's either a deeper reason for it and you ask me about it instead of coming at me, or you probably just didn't need to know something.
Yeah.
But usually that's not the case. Like, usually it's, I do tell you everything. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's great. Anybody else? Boo boo.
What was the question?
What do they do good as a...
What do we do good as a fam? Like, what's made a difference?
As a family together,
Yeah, like what's our strength?
I mean, we're definitely a healthy family in general. Like, we're not like a dysfunctional, like, we definitely have our sibling moments, like we argue, but that's like normal. But yeah, what Charlie said with like you have your moments with like being strict and being like comfortable with us. You definitely pick your good moments with
Yeah.
that. Because
Pick the right
everyone,
moments.
everyone knows you guys are like chill and you guys are like good parents. Like, you guys don't really care. Well, not like you don't care.
You're lenient at the right times.
Like, at the right times, Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Which actually I think is a question that can go back to you of, as parents, how do you choose the right times to be lenient? Like, how can you determine, when to let us kind of like do our own thing, and just like, how long did it take for you guys to trust us? Because I know I've broken trust cool couple times with y'all, and
Yeah.
like, but now I can.
Well, I can't relate. That's how it's very like. I think once we talked about it the other day, like we don't see y'all as just our kids. We see you as humans.
Yeah.
You're adult, becoming adult human beings, and you have huge, amazing brains, and you have your own feelings. And so we've tried our hardest to see you as our kids, yes, but you're also a human. You can teach us stuff. You can
Right.
you can help us learn. You can hold us accountable at times, and I think parents can get a little bit afraid of that. So our journey has been to really try to make sure that you feel honored and dignified, and it's never a question of who's in charge. It's not like you guys are challenging, but there are times where you have to learn your own way, and we've had an interesting journey of like what do we do that sucks? You know, it's like we will talk amongst ourselves and just go, is this even worth it? Do we need to even have a rule? But yeah, I think it's a journey that you go on. Yeah, it's beautiful. Avery, were you going to say anything? Because I have a question I'm going to ask you guys before. And these guys will tell you, we've been talking for 2 hours. The people listening will listen for 25 minutes. So it's not like, sometimes you can feel like it's, yeah.
Something we do great as a family for me, and that we receive well as the kids, I would say, is like openness. And I've also had to come to learn that that's not normal, and people get kind of freaked out
Yeah.
with how open we are.
Right, Bayla?
But it's not necessarily like a bad thing. I think it's just more, we're open in a lot of areas where it matters, which for us is all the time. And it's so abnormal to the outside that I think that's why I feel like that's our best trait. And I just and I can't count on one hand or two fingers even other families that are kind of like that and like how we are. And I think it's special, but I also think it can be perceived in difficult ways that kind of make us maybe lie and make us maybe not want to tell you guys something or get our friends involved or whoever. Like, I think it's cool how open we are because of what's happened.
What we've been through.
And I think that's where I'm grateful. That's where I reframe the situation, and I'm grateful for the situation because it's resulted in all of this and like just fruit everywhere.
Sometimes families have really fancy like crests or like values, and they have this beautiful presentation. Somebody asked me like, "Does your family has values?" I'm like, "Honesty. We're just honest.
Yeah.
If we're honest, everything else
falls
works."
into place.
Yeah.
So what's the Lentz family value?
Yeah.
Honesty.
If one of us is not honest, like
Everything's
you know,
off.
everyone knows.
It's very interesting.
It's weird. Everyone knows.
Yes.
And like even without anything being said, like even stuff between us, they will know stuff, and like it's just
It's such
It's
a weird. I
weird.
feel like it's a weird Holy Spirit thing
Yeah.
of
could be.
like, if I have like relapsed in a mindset or an action or a habit, I don't have to say jack for y'all
all
to know, because it's like one, we've spent the time together
A lot of time.
where you recognize our spirits regularly, and then when we're off, and then it's like, and vice versa, like we've all put in the work to know each other and as much as we can. But I think it's like, it's just, y'all don't even have to, and it sucks so bad when I'm trying to like suffer by myself. Like I'm trying to suffer and I'm trying to be comfortable in sadness, and then you come in my room and you're like, man, we gotta fix this room, like this is like a reflection of our brains. And I'm like, man, you better shut up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. But
Yes.
it's like, it just, yeah.
Okay. Here's a
Love
question.
that.
Here's a question. Beautiful. Yeah, I think I'll close with this thought down the road, but here's a good one. What do parents not know about their teenagers? And you're 20, you're still in there kind of, but I know I've been in the spot of maybe a listener where it's like, you just feel like lost because y'all are complicated human beings. Your age bracket, it is hard to know what the F is going on. But what do you think is common? Because you guys talk about your friends a lot, how they don't have the same dynamic. What do you see? What are you like, man, that dad needs to do this? Or like, what do we not know? What's it like to be
Presence.
your age right now? What's it feel like?
Presence. Like,
Presence?
I think if the presence of your parents and the presence of people that, regardless, if whether you want to admit it or not, they're the first they're the first pair of people that you have learned to communicate to and be honest to and want to tell things to and want to be around, and you're like
So good.
pulled to them. So when that person, that like thing on a pedestal in our little brains, is their presence is off, then we're automatically like, all right, we're just off. Like if someone's dad is just like, their attitude is just like shitty and just rude and impactful, how is that going to be, how do you expect that to be received? We're going to close off. We're going to not be honest. We're going to reflect exactly what you're doing. And so
Wow.
the presence of who you are, and that goes right back down to like figuring out where you're at in the moment and being honest with yourself where you're at in the moment. Like your presence matters to
Your
the
kid.
people that you live with and that see you every day, that see your presence every day.
Presence. So if I'm a dad or a mom, I'm trying to get closer. Presence. Be present. Char, you going to say
I
something?
wanted to say something, but he wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Romy.
Go ahead, bud.
Huh? You can go.
Okay. I was gonna say like intentionality of like the little things. Like every time we hang up a phone or any of us leave a room, we say I love you.
True.
Always done that. Like, and then the other little things of like, if you pass us just walking, you're gonna give us a kiss on the head, or you're just gonna like just do a little tap or something. And that's something that I look for in relationships, like my standards of like
Yeah.
of like, oh, if I don't get told, just like the little things of like, I don't know, but you just like, you make time for the little things of just like, just popping in and just being like checking on my friends. Like people don't do that. Like my friends' parents like don't make time to check on people who aren't their kids.
Check on you.
You know, like
So you're saying
Mom-
it matters to you a lot that mom and I are intentional about knowing your friends.
Yeah, like mom is a good mother
Okay.
to people she birthed and people she didn't.
True that.
Like that is one of the main attributes I feel like to her, is like you're just like naturally a mother. Like you nurture like a mother. Like and everybody and people just walk in the house and it just has a mother's touch.
Yeah.
Like that's just like the way it is.
You're
Well,
definitely.
people walk in my house that, I mean, I'm surprised no one's walked in right now.
I agree. I've been waiting for one of my friends to pop
just
in.
pop
I'm like,
in?
oh hey, because people just do that.
Yeah.
But because that's just what you guys, the environment that you guys have made through being intentional.
Then it makes you comfortable.
Of like you texting my friends, like with me involved, but like you would send texts to be like, hey, like love seeing you today. Like we should like if you want to talk, like I'm here, because we be messed up. Like we're teenagers. Like
Yeah.
we like a lot of us don't have the outlet that you offer.
Right.
I think I hear you saying, if it matters to you, it's got to matter to the parents.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if I
Yeah.
don't think it would, if it matters to you, and that's something that builds a bond. So that's a great piece of wisdom. Presence, intentionality, huge. That's you're saying this is what y'all have needed.
And like sacrifice, I think. Like you guys have sacrificed your home to make sure that I have, the social outlet that I need, and it has paid off. Like I feel like
Yeah, I love picking up 50 towels after a
it's a matter
weekend.
of like what Mike Todd is always saying, like
Yeah.
you used to pray for those kids that you're complaining about.
Correct.
Like instead you be getting mad when it's messy, but like you help us clean our mess. Like you still sacrifice your time to make us happy, and so like, and then that ends up making y'all happy too. Like, because like seeing us, make good friends, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Win all the way around.
That's good.
Romy, anything that we need to know about 15-year-old boys, 14-year-old boys?
No, I agree with like both of what they said. Like, it's like a big thing to like just be there as a parent.
Why did you kick me out all the time then, bro?
Because you're like overly doing that.
I'm
low-key
overly
annoying
present and low-key annoying? Okay.
but like-
You love it.
No, but like, yeah, You're definitely a mom to like my friends too, to like my friends who don't really have good parents who are there. Same with you. My friends love both of you because you guys are there for them as like parents, even though you aren't. So
What tell me about 15-year-old boys and what you don't think parents know about them. I'll premise it by saying this. What I've realized about you, and this was a hard combo we had, but I said something to you and you acknowledged it and you repeated it back. And I was like, man, sometimes I don't know you're listening, if you're listening or not. And you said, well, sometimes you just talk nonsense. When you say the stuff that matters, I hear it. I was like, oh. But
Kids don't wanna rant all the
interesting
time.
that you said that to me because it did shift the way that you're so smart. You internalize everything. But on the outside, you accuse me of glazing and don't touch me and don't talk to me. You're a fan, Dad. But inside, there's something different going on. So there's a lot of people who love 15-year-olds out there. Like, what's going on in there, bro?
I mean, definitely a lot because like we're in that stage, it's growing up and still being a kid. So, a big thing that like parents don't know is definitely the things they do on the screens and stuff. Because we're going through changes as like kids. So, yeah.
You're talking about stuff like porn and
Yeah.
stuff you shouldn't be. Is it almost impossible? Have you found it a challenge to try to stick to our guns because we've talked about for a while protecting your eyes, and you and I have acknowledged how hard it is. It's not as easy as it was. Like, it's not as easy as we've taken away every device, and you've let me know, Dad, if I want to, I've got another device, in the attic that I can, because you're so smart. Like, that's scary as a parent, but from your angle, you're saying it's just hard. Like, it must just be, what's it like fielding all of that?
I mean, there's like endless like temptations you can get, like being on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Something is always gonna pop up that can make you feel a certain way. So
How can parents support you in that other than taking all your stuff?
Which isn't practical.
Right.
At the end of the day, you got to teach kids how to manage some of these things
Like,
that
not
are
just
in their
tell,
face.
but tell and give solutions.
Right.
there's definitely no way you can just like, as like from what you're doing, there's no way you can just like take something away, because you can always access something like that.
Yeah.
You just have to build trust and teach your kid how it's not okay to do.
Because we spent a lot of time talking about how the issue with porn is not porn per se. It's the fact that this is what it's doing to your brain. We took morality out of it, and we just talked about chemicals. And I think you told me that made a lot of sense to you.
Yeah.
Because right or wrong loses the battle often to your hormones.
Yeah.
And then you deal with guilt for days. And then so we're going to a different place with some of that stuff. We're talking about what porn does to your mind and to your eyes and to your soul in that regard. And you said that's been more helpful than me just, doing some other stuff.
Christian parent
Yeah.
thing, which is
Especially-
it's wrong to
yeah.
look at.
Right. It's wrong. It's wrong doesn't cut it. We know
It's not
that.
gonna, and the Bible says that's not going
And
to
we know that.
We know
There's
that that's
gotta be
wrong.
something
Yeah.
deeper. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people get lost with like biblically, don't do all that. And like, God gave us hormones for a reason. Like, God gave us science to be able to use that. Like, when people say like, oh, go to God with your temptation, it's like, okay, then what?
Yeah, then
Like, what else did God give us to use? God gave us therapy. God gave us
Preach.
like other things, like books, like study about how you're being affected by it. And it's like, excuse me. With y'all, I think that you guys just planted seeds in us that like, where we have that discernment of like knowing something is wrong. And if we still do it, that's our choice. And I think you guys have done a good job at like, at some point, letting us figure it out for ourselves, which I think that a lot of parents are scared to do, which makes sense. Like, I think y'all are scared to let us do stuff by ourselves a lot too. But it's like, it's like I said before, it's the little things that count of like, I don't know, just with porn, it's like, I've seen posts on Instagram where it's like, how to have a better sex life, watch porn. And it's like, it's just not how it goes, but it's like, as young people being fed that, as parents, you have to counteract that like subtly, because social media has a big pedestal, I feel like, in a lot of our brains that can overtake what parents say, because it's so easy for everybody to agree with what a post says.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, and that's just like a reality that a lot of parents have to face.
Which is why it's important for parents to have conversations.
Got to.
Because social media is so influential in your
Yeah.
lives, right?
Yeah. And you
And
can.
so you have to be able to counteract that with talking with your kids about it and having open conversations, and not just don't do that because it's wrong.
Right.
You have to give more than that. And parents don't know how to do that a lot of times.
Yeah.
But-
As like a parent, you can definitely like say to yourself that like my kid probably isn't doing that, but if they're 14 or 15 and they're going through puberty and stuff like that, they're 100%.
They live
They're,
above
they're,
ground.
they're battling.
100%.
They're
They live-
battling.
above ground.
Even 12.
Probably, yeah.
They're
Even
12
battling.
and 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're battling.
Even at a young age, you can just fall into that early.
So that's what your message to some parents would be, probably to open up your eyes a little wider and,
Talk to your
know,
kids
talk
about
to
it.
them. Talk
And
to
it's
them.
like parents, like you as a grown man had temptations and you fell victim to those.
Have.
So it's like a lot of like what you said before, you see us as humans, like as grown adults.
Yeah.
Even as a still figuring everything out, he's still an adult in some.
Yes, he still
form.
deserves honor.
Like no matter at any
Dignity.
time in some aspect, we're grown.
Yeah.
Like, and we're grown enough to be having those conversations.
Correct.
And like, so for parents to be able to have that conversation, it starts with the mindset of they're human. And if I feel it, they do too. Like,
Right.
you're never too young to, I don't know, you're never too young to be a drug addict. You're never too young to be a victim of some sort of sexual assault or something. And it's like,
Get to know him.
it just,
Yeah.
it starts with the fundamental of basic, just human value in families.
You guys are going to be, without a doubt, the most requested guests on this podcast. Will you come back and make this a thing? And just know how helpful it is. I'm so proud of you three and so blessed to be your dad. So grateful for the gift that it is to know you and be in your world. Thank you for standing in the storm. Thank you for having your own relationship with God. Thank you for being an encouragement to me. I've learned more from you three than you will ever know.
Yeah.
Proud of you
guys.
guys.
Love you.
Proud of you.
And yes, I would come back on again.
Yes, we'll be back.
Thank you, guys.
Romy,
And you're welcome
I will
that I
come
birthed
back
you all
if
Wow.
I feel like
if
it.
you feel
that
like
you're
it.
here.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
until next time. I love you.
Love you.
I
Love
love
you.
you.
Love you.
I love you.